Hi everyone, welcome to your Tuesday yoga session. So for today's class, we are making use of a towel rolled up like a bolster. So this is very important for some of the postures we're going to be doing because today's class focuses a lot on calf stretching. So I've had some of those requests. Hi, welcome Mario. So we're going to be doing calf stretching today throughout the class. I've been following the running program, and for those of you who have been out there running and cycling, perhaps you've also been experiencing that tightness in the calves and the legs. So we're just going to be working through a few postures that just focus on stretching out the calves properly, as well as like little tendons around the ankles, the Achilles. And we're going to begin this lunchtime practice with 3 rounds of our sun salutation B, just to get the body to warm up and stretch into the hamstrings a little bit as well. Just ease some of the tension in the back and shoulders. And so make sure you've got some water, because we might just steam things up a little bit and get a little bit hot. And then also, if you'd like to, just make sure you have a little towel or a little cushion just to protect the knees on the mat. So we are going to be doing some postures where the knee will be on the mat in our low lunges. Hi guys, welcome. Thank you for joining our yoga practice today. So we won't really be needing the books today, just most importantly a rolled up towel. We will definitely be using this for our calf stretching postures, which we will be doing throughout the practice. So just make sure you've got a mat or a carpeted towel surface, so a nice soft surface to practice on to support parts of the body. Make sure you've got some water nearby. We might start off getting a little bit sweaty with our sun salutations. So we're going to begin with 3 rounds of sun B. So just a reminder, unlike sun salutation A, that's the one where we include our warrior 1. And hi guys, nice to see you joining. Our warrior 1 as well as our chair pose, so it's a little bit of strengthening work as well. Warrior 1 is actually also great for just stretching out parts of the legs, so we're going to be working on that. And then we're going to move into our postures that focus on our calves and end with a nice stretch on the mat. So let's begin by finding a comfortable standing posture at the top of your mat. So just to touch back on our yoga practice in general, it's always important to bring the attention back to the breath. So we use the breath to help us move through the postures, to deepen the stretches, and to help pace our movements. So the first round of sun B, we're going to move quite slowly, just so we get used to those postures again. And when we stand in our yoga standing posture, it's a strong standing posture. So we lift the kneecaps to engage the thighs, so our quads are nice and firm and strong. The belly is drawn in, and we tilt the pelvis slightly inwards, forwards, and that is our standing posture. Shoulders away from the ears, so just shrug them down slightly. Sometimes we tend to keep our shoulders up, especially when we're stressed or we've been working at our desks for a while, like I have this morning after the run. So, beginning in our Tadasana or standing pose, with the hands pressed at the heart center. We then inhale as we lift our hands up towards the ceiling, looking up towards our thumbs. And as we exhale, we forward fold. So hinging from the hips, we come down, we reach for our toes. We're going to stay here for a few moments. So you can just gently bend one knee at a time, just easing into the hamstrings at the back. It doesn't matter if you can't reach your toes, you can just place your hands on your shins. The idea is we're just working with stretching out the back of the legs. Hi everyone. Nice to see all the faces joining for a good lunchtime stretch. From here, your next inhale, let's come up for a halfway lift. So spine's nice and straight, like a strong table. And as we exhale, we place the hands on the mat, step backwards so that you're in your high plank. Prepare for your chaturanga. So if you'd like to, I know we've had a tough training session, you can come down onto your knees and just release the feet to go into your chaturanga for today. And then as we inhale, we come up to our upward facing dog. So now we lift the kneecaps off the mat, the thighs are lifted up off the mat. We're creating a nice stretch for the lower back, opening of the chest in front. And as we exhale, we roll over the toes, lift the hips up for downward facing dog. So again, just take a couple moments here to bend one knee at a time gently. We will be doing this for a little bit longer later in the practice. So we'll do a dedicated stretch in our down dog. And from here we step into our warrior one as we inhale. So on the right side, right foot comes forward. Just set up the back foot correctly. So warrior one, the feet are on separate tracks. It's not like warrior two where they're in line. And the back foot is out at a 45-degree angle. As we inhale, we come up, hands up towards the ceiling. Just work on trying to get that front thigh as parallel to the mat as you possibly can. So just inch that foot forward if you need to. You should already now be beginning to feel a really nice stretch for that back calf. Our hands are up towards the ceiling. And we're just going to stay here for 2 breaths for our first round. So try and enjoy the posture and the stretch. Try and feel it out. Square the hips off to the front, so we're not open to the side like a warrior two. The hips are facing forwards. And as we exhale, we bring the hands down to the mat. Sweep that foot back. And we come down for our chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, warrior one, left side. So left foot steps forward. Just adjust the placement of your right foot to the back. 45-degree angle, foot out to the side. Feet are different tracks on the mat. Try and work towards getting that front thigh as parallel to the mat as you can. You should already begin to feel that nice stretch in the back leg. Our hands are lifted up towards the ceiling. And we're here for 2 breaths as we just settle into the posture. Remember to just rotate the hips slightly so that they're facing forwards. And as we exhale, we release the hands down to the mat. Sweep that left foot back. And we come down, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And as we inhale, we step forward into our chair pose. I'm just moving a little away from my wall. So from our chair pose, we begin to sit back down into that imaginary chair as we lift our hands up towards the ceiling. Shrug the shoulders away from the ears. You should still be able to see your toes. So just adjust your posture so that you can see your toes. Even try and lift those toes up. So you're more, the weight is more on your ankles. And you can just see if you can sit down a little bit more deeply. As we exhale, we release, coming into our forward fold. As we inhale, we come up for our high mountain. Exhale, hands to heart center for our Tadasana. So that was round 1. Well done, everyone. Let's move into our second round. For our second round, we'll move a little bit faster, just on the breath. So let's inhale, hands up towards the ceiling, high mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga. You're welcome to use your knees. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, warrior one, right side. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, warrior one, left side. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, step to the front, chair pose. Gently sit back down into the chair. We're here for 2 breaths. Try and tease your toes off the mat. Exhale to release, straighten the legs, forward fold. Inhale, high mountain. Exhale, Tadasana. Beautiful, everyone. We've got one more round of our Sun B. So let's just take a moment here to reset the breath. And we begin. Inhale, high mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Hey, Lulu. Inhale, warrior one, right side. Exhale, chaturanga. Step the right foot back. Lower yourself down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, warrior one, left side. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, step to the front, chair pose. Sit back down in that chair. We're here for 3 breaths, so try and enjoy the posture. Shrug the shoulders away from the ears. Sit a little bit deeper. Tease the toes off the mat. Open the chest out in front of you. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come up, high mountain. Exhale, hands to heart center, Tadasana. Well done, everyone. You're welcome to have a sip of water. That concludes our warm-up for our lunchtime practice. Hi guys, nice to see the faces joining. So like I mentioned earlier, we are going to go back into our down dog posture, and we're going to spend some time working on the calves, working with the hamstrings, and we're just going to ease into the postures. So we are going to be spending some time in the postures. So ready yourself for those stretches and just use the breath to help ease any discomfort that you may feel. Just remember, you should never feel any kind of searing pain in yoga. It's very important that you realize it's a healing practice, it's a healing exercise. So just be mindful of what your body is telling you and just listen to what it's saying and where it's allowing you to go today. So when you're ready, let's move into our tabletop position. Just go this side. So I've got an obstacle on my mat. Hey, Lily. So from here, we're going to curl the toes, lift the knees, and just for a little treat for today, we're going to stay like this for 5 more breaths. Just a little bit of a strengthening bonus. Keep the core nice and engaged. Just 2 more breaths left. And exhale, extend the hips up towards the ceiling. Come into your down dog. So now during the first round of the warm-up, we did a little bit of walking our dog. So walking the dog is when you bend one knee at a time. So what we're going to do now is do that, but then hold on each side the stretch for at least 10 seconds. So you just come a little bit more forward so you can see the back legs. So for example, we're going to bend the right leg first and really feel the deep stretch into the left side. So we're just going to hold here like this for 3 breaths further. And on your next inhale, begin to gently change over. So straighten the right leg and bend the left knee. And we're here for 3 more breaths. On your next inhale, let's change over again to the opposite side. So we're bending the right knee, feeling the stretch into the left leg. And on your next exhale, bend the left knee, feel the stretch into the right side. So you're aiming to bring the ankle closer to the floor. Should feel like a nice deep stretch opening the back of the legs. My cat's trying to open a cupboard. And then as you inhale, we can just release, straighten both legs now for 3 breaths. Work the chest closer towards the thighs. Now staying where you are, I'm just going to switch around so I can demonstrate properly. We're going to do a toe to heel down dog. So from your down dog posture, take your right foot as you inhale and place it at the back of the left foot. So the toes are resting where my ankle is. This feels like a nice deep stretch for the left side. Then we're here for 2 more breaths. As we inhale, we release the right leg and we place the opposite foot behind. So the toe is reaching for the ankle, the other leg is straight but the ankle is reaching for the mat, so my foot's flat down on the mat. The aim is to try and get the foot that's more in front flat down on the mat, while the back foot, it's just the toes reaching at the ankle. On your next inhale, let's move again to the opposite side. So now my right foot is at the back, left foot reaching to be flat on the mat, toes at the ankle. And 1 more on the opposite side. So you inhale, just shift the feet. And on your next inhale, let's bring the feet back to our neutral down dog posture. As we exhale, bend the knees, release down to the mat, and sit back onto the ankles for a moment to reset the breath. So you should already have been feeling a really nice stretch for the back of the legs and working into the calf area. So if you'd like to take a sip of water now, you're welcome to do so. We're now going to move into our tabletop posture with some variations in our tabletop. So we're just going to begin with a few rounds of cat and cow to work on the mobility of the spine. So hands are directly beneath the shoulders, knees are directly beneath the hips, our feet are just relaxed at the back. As we inhale, we begin to drop the belly, stick the bum out, look up towards the ceiling. Should be a really nice stretch for the lower back. Feeling a bit of work happening there. So just allow the belly to be soft here. As we exhale, we tilt the pelvis inwards, gently begin to round the spine, look towards the pelvis. Press into the mat with the hands. As we inhale, we begin to tilt the pelvis backwards, sticking the bum out, dropping the belly, looking up towards the ceiling, feeling the opening of the throat. As we exhale, we begin to tilt the pelvis inwards, round the spine, press into the mat with the hands, look at the belly button. Inhale, let's stick the bum out, drop the belly, begin to look up, up, up. Exhale, tilt the pelvis inwards, round the spine, press into the mat with the hands. So we're lifting the shoulders up, the shoulder blades are nice and open at the back. As we inhale 1 more time, let's drop the belly as low as we can, really creating that curvature with the spine, looking up towards the ceiling. And as we exhale for last time for our cat, we really press into the mat, lifting the shoulder blades up towards the ceiling, looking towards the belly button. And we inhale for a neutral spine. Now from here, we're going to move into a calf stretch. So I'm also just going to turn around again. I think it's better from the side if you can see my feet. So as we inhale, we're going to take the right foot, lift it up, and press the toes on the mat. So we can feel that stretch on the back of the leg. So you can see that my right leg is nice and straight. My hands are just resting on the mat in that tabletop position. The toes are pressed down on the mat. And you can just feel the stretch in the back of the leg and the calf. And we're holding here for 5 more breaths on this side before we change over. We'll be doing a couple of these, just working into the back of the legs. On your next exhale, you can now bend that right knee back down into the tabletop position. As you inhale, extend the left foot back behind you, resting the toes on the mat. Really pressing the ankle backwards so you can feel a nice stretch in that leg. So reach the ankle back as far as you can. Press the toes into the mat. We have 3 more deep breaths on this side. As you exhale, release the knee down to the mat. Let's inhale to lift the right leg back out, placing the toes on the mat, extending the heel back behind you, straightening the leg. So again here, you can engage the quad by lifting the kneecap up. So just keeping the legs nice and strong throughout our postures. And we're here for another 3 breaths. As we exhale, we release the right knee forward. Inhale, let's lift that left foot back and up. Reach the ankle back. Feel the stretch in the calf. Should be really nice and kind of getting into those tight spots, especially if you were doing the heels this morning, which were really tough. So we have for 3 more breaths on the side. And on your next exhale, release the foot down into your tabletop, and you can just sit back down onto your ankles for a moment. So the heart rate should have come down a lot now. I know sometimes being in down dog for a while can feel a little uncomfortable if you're not used to having your head below your heart, but you should be feeling nice and calm now after being in our tabletop with our stretches. So the next posture we're going to work on is a forward fold, but with our towel. So please make sure you have one of your towels folded up like this. We will be using it as a popper for a couple of postures still to go, and it's really going to help. So with our forward fold, let me do it this way around. So just like we do in our chaturangas, so from our tabletop, we're going to curl the toes, lift the back knees, extend downward facing dog. From here, we're going to step to the front of the mat or wherever your towel is. And we're going to place the feet up onto the towel. So the toes are on top of the towel, and you can see the ankles are still resting on the floor. And from here, we move into our forward fold. So you're reaching your hands down towards the toes, or even wrapping around the towel. So this is quite a deep stretch for the back of the legs and the calves. We are going to be staying here for a little while, so just try and settle in as much as you can. If your hands can't reach the toes or the towel, just let them hold onto the shins. The idea is that you're just reaching forward with the crown of your head down towards the mat so that you can feel that beneficial stretch for the back of the legs and the calves. So it doesn't matter if you can't touch your toes or not. It's just about the reach. To help you, you can even place the hands around the calves like I have now. You can reach the forehead slightly more by extending the elbows out to the side, bringing the forehead, bringing the crown of the head down to the mat. So we're here still for another 10 breaths. I know this might feel like a long time, but often we have to stay in some of these deep stretches for a while to really feel the benefits and allow the body a chance to actually open up. Hey, kitty. Oh, cats are frisky today. Boys are playing. So we just have 3 more breaths here. Very gently on your next exhale, you can begin to remove that towel, just set it aside, and let's just come into a ragdoll posture here. So that's just grabbing opposite elbows and gently swaying from left to right with your legs nice and straight, feet just flat on the floor. It's also nice for the lower back to do this. Oh, hey cat. They're wild. So now on your next exhale, let's release the hands down to the mat, bend the knees as much as you like, and step the feet back so that you're in your high plank first, and then release the knees down to the mat so that you're back into your tabletop. So the next posture we're going to move into is our low lunge, which you'll know well from stretching out our hips and working with our quad stretches. Today we're going to add a variation to our low lunge to just work a little bit more with the calves. So it's quite fun, but obviously just feel it out and see if it works for you. So let's begin as we inhale to bring our right foot forward. So let's just check that we set up in our low lunge position correctly. So at the front, the knee is directly above the ankle. We're getting a nice quad stretch already here at the back for the back leg. Now, right foot forward, right arm, scoop it underneath so the arm basically comes between this little area of the thigh where it would meet the calf, and then just bend as we did our little pulses and dips the other day. You just reach the pelvis closer to the mat, which creates an almost compression against the arm, so you'll be able to feel it squeezing into the top part of the calf. So you can just rest the one hand on the mat just to help for a little bit of balance. I'll show a front arm profile as well, just so it's more obvious. So lower lunge in front, the right arm directly beneath the knee, and then we bend our hips forward or open our hips closer to the mat. We can feel the arm pressing on the top part of the calf. Obviously we're getting a whole lot of other stretching benefits here as well. So the quad at the back, really nice stretching for the hips too. Just take care of the back knee. So if your knee on the mat is just starting to feel a little twingy, make sure that you, I don't know if that's a real word, twitchy or sensitive, just use a little cushion or a towel and place it underneath that back knee. We are going to be here still for a while, so just make sure that you can stay in this posture. 5 more breaths. Really bring the pelvis closer towards the mat. Feel the compression of your thigh against the arm, against the calf. And on your next exhale, let's release, gently tilt the hips back and place both hands on the mat. So I'm just going to move back into the side profile here. So if you were here now, we're just going to extend and release that left leg back down to the mat. So you're back in your tabletop. As we inhale, we bring the opposite foot forward. So now it's our left foot in between the hands. We come up for our low lunge, knee directly above the ankle, left arm, bring it underneath, squeeze it, the top there, and then watch how my pelvis tilts forward, reaches towards the mat, creating a nice squeeze of the arm between the top of the calf and the thigh. Again, I'm just resting my left hand on the mat to assist with some balance. It's a really nice stretch for the hips. And again, that back quad muscle. Hey, Biggie. And we're here for 5 more breaths. The cat's jumping around me. On your next exhale, let's just begin to gently bend the hips back, release the arm, You can place both hands down on the sides of the mat if that feels comfortable, and just gently release that knee back down into your tabletop position. So now we're going to move into a high lunge and pyramid. So also just really good for strengthening and stretching out the legs. So we're going to curl the back toes, lift the knees, extend up, downward facing dog. And then from here, we're going to inhale, step the right foot forward. So high lunge, we come up. So you can see we're working towards getting that front thigh parallel to the mat, knee directly above the ankle. At the back, I'll just do the reverse so you can see my back foot. So it's a straight leg. I'm pressing into my toes, my ankles behind me, hips are facing forward. So this is our high lunge posture. We're just going to stay here for a few rounds of breath. You're welcome to add the arms pointed up towards the ceiling. Shrug the shoulders away from the ears. Feel that scissoring action of the thighs. Nice strengthening posture. Squeeze the glute at the back. And now on your next exhale, gently straighten the front leg. Release the hands down to the mat. And you can lift the front foot up. So you can either rest the hand on the mat or just place it on the leg as well. So just work out what feels comfortable for you. Perhaps it's your right hand down, left hand on the toes. So flex the toes back towards the face and just hold onto the toes with the left hand just to deepen the stretch in front for the pyramid pose. And when you feel comfortable with your feet set up, you can just reach the forehead closer towards the knees. Just 2 more breaths here. Release the hand, gently come forward. Inhale, come up again. You're in your high lunge. Sit into that lunge. Strong leg at the back. Hands up towards the ceiling. Straight thigh parallel to the mat in front. So you want your thigh to be so strong that you can imagine someone could come sit on it right now. You won't collapse, you'll be able to hold the weight. And we're holding here for just 2 more breaths. As we exhale, gently release the hands down to the mat. We're going back into our pyramid pose. So straighten that front leg. Flex the toes up towards the face. Hold onto the toes with the hand. Reach the forehead towards the knee. We're not here as long as we were for the first round. Just 3 more breaths. And gently exhale to release. Inhale to come up, high lunge 1 more time. So we're doing 3 repeats on each side. Squeezing that glute of the leg that's at the back, nice and strong, straight leg at the back, strong thigh in the front. Remember to shrug the shoulders away from the ears. And we exhale 1 more time into our pyramid, straightening that front leg, flexing the toes back towards the face, holding onto the toes if you can, reaching the forehead towards the knee. Just 2 more breaths here. And as we exhale now, we release the knee to come forward, drop the back knee down onto the mat, And then sweep that right foot back so that you're back into your tabletop posture. So I'm just turning around for the opposite side. So from here now, we inhale, bring the left foot towards the front in between the hands. We curl the back toes, lift that back knee, come up into our high lunge on the opposite side. So again, we're looking for that nice strong thigh in front, straight leg at the back, the ankle is lifted at the back, the hips are facing directly forward, hands up towards the ceiling, palms facing one another, shoulders shrugged down. Feel that scissoring action of the thighs. Don't collapse on any cats. So imagine you're also trying to tilt your pelvis slightly inwards, and at the same time, you're keeping your core engaged. We're here for just 2 more breaths. The longest hold is always the first round. Gets easier from here out. So as we exhale now, we begin to release the arms down to the mat. We straighten that front leg. Just do any adjustments if you need to, wiggling any feet. Reach for the toes as you flex them back towards the face. I've got my fingertips on the mat, just helping me balance. If you're struggling to reach the mat, you can place some books or something underneath the hand just to create a little bit of elevation. Feel the deep stretch for the back of the leg in front. As you hold onto the toes, the stretch is a little bit deeper, and feel it into the calves. Hey, Luli. Just 3 more breaths here. I promise the next 2 rounds we won't hold so long. And as we exhale, we gently begin to bend into that front leg. We inhale as we lift our hands up towards the ceiling. High lunge. Sit down into the lunge. Keep that front thigh nice and parallel to the mat. Can squeeze the glute on the back leg. Just 1 more breath here together. As we exhale, gently reach the hands down for the mat. Begin to straighten that front leg. Flex the toes back towards the face. Lift the foot up. Reach for the toes if you can. Just 2 more breaths here. As you exhale, gently release, bending into that knee. Inhale to come up, high lunge. Settling into the high lunge now. We know where we're going. Just double check that you aren't bringing the shoulders too close up to the ears. Just shrug them down slightly. Give the glute to the back, little squeeze, squeeze. And let's exhale, reach the hands down towards the mat, straighten that front leg, flex the toes back towards the face, holding here for just a few breaths. Gently bend into that front knee. Release the hands and the back knee down to the mat. Well done, everyone. We are done with our pyramid poses for today. They can be quite intense for the body. So I hope you made it through. Just sweep that leg back. Let's just gently sit back down onto our heels for a moment here to reset the breath. You're welcome to take a sip of water now before we move into our last posture before a little bit more of a gentle stretch. So the next posture we're moving into is our eagle pose. It's a pretzel pose. Your body gets all nice and twisted, and what's great about it is that we really create this compression between all the muscles, and then when we release the posture, fresh rush of blood goes everywhere. But additional bonuses of eagle really works well with just the stability muscles for running, which are super important for the feet. The balance works into the Achilles tendon, little tendons around the base of the legs and the feet. So also really, really complementary pose to help with the running performance and to prevent injury. So let's come back into our tabletop. Curl the toes, lift the knees, exhale, downward facing dog. As we inhale, we step the right foot forward as if we're going to go into a high lunge like we've just done. We come up, so basically like in a high lunge, but we sweep now the left foot up and around. So we're in eagle legs. So I'll show a front posture as well. And then the leg that's on top is the arm that goes under. So left arm under, right arm over, hands clasp. Or back of the hands to touch or hold onto the shoulders. So just feel what feels okay for you today in terms of your arms. I will just show a front version as well. So front on. So we began with that lunge, so the right leg was already bent, which helps you get into the posture. You lifted that left leg up and around. And if you can, try and get the foot to sneak around the back of the calf there. So my legs are in this little pretzel-y posture. Bring the arms together. And we hold here. It doesn't matter if you fall out of the posture. It's okay. It doesn't matter if your foot is... See where my foot is now, just try and sit down into the posture. If you can reach the foot all the way around, that's great. But if you can't, it's okay, just let it rest here. The most important thing is to create this compression of the thighs. So you won't be able to see any light going through the thighs. The thighs are really pressed together. We're just going to hold here for 2 more breaths. I know it's tough. Release the arms first, unravel the feet. Let's just come back into our standing posture now. Take a moment to reset. So just standing, focus on the breath for 2 rounds of breath. And now we're going to move into our opposite side. So left standing leg, bend the knees first to help you get into the posture. Inhale as we lift the right leg up. Create that connection of the thighs first. Then swing that foot around if you can. Once you have stability with the legs, we focus on the arms. So now it's left arm under, right arm over, hands to touch, or back of the hands, or holding onto opposite shoulders. So you just want to feel a really nice stretch for the shoulder blades, the back. That's what we're focusing on here with the arms. And wherever you are, just lift the elbows up slightly, sit down a little bit deeper into the posture. So it's like what we did with our chair pose earlier. We're sitting down, we're creating more compression here. The standing leg is working quite hard, the foot muscles are working hard to keep us balanced. If you fall out, it's okay, just come back in. We're here for 2 more breaths only. Gently begin to unravel the arms first, then release the legs, coming back into our standing posture. Let's just gently bend 1 knee at a time, just easing out the legs. Beautiful work, everyone. Let's come down onto the mat for a few last gentle stretches. So just lying down on your back. Let's begin with the knees pointed up towards the ceiling. The feet are just resting on the mat. Now we're going to move into our reclined pigeon, or like a figure 4 with a reach. So we inhale to lift up our right foot, creating that figure 4 posture. Foot is resting on top of the left thigh. We reach the right hand through the thighs, left hand on the outside, clasp hold of the thighs, lie back down. Feel the nice stretch on the right side, around the thigh, the hip, the glute. Make sure that you just tuck your chin slightly so you elongate the neck that's on the mat. So always careful to protect the neck. We have for just 2 more breaths before we move over to the opposite side. As you exhale, gently release the clasp of your hands, allow the foot to come back down onto the mat and place the right foot down on the mat. As you inhale, we lift the left foot up, place it on the top of that right thigh, and then just reaching that knee out to the left side. You can even just guide it gently a little bit more open with that left hand. Now let's begin to reach left hand through the thighs, right hand outside of the thigh, clasping around the shin. Gently lie back down. Feel the stretch now on the left side, the glute, the thigh, the hips. Tuck the chin slightly. Hey, Bobo. We're nearly done. Hey, sweetie. Hello, my beautiful cat. Cats are a great distraction from discomfort. So just 1 more breath here together, and then we'll release. And gently as you exhale, release the clasp of the hands. Allow the right foot to come back down to the mat and release the left foot down. So just keeping your feet now hip width apart. We're just going to finish with a windscreen wiper motion of the legs. It's just really nice for releasing the lower back. So extend the arms out to the sides in a T-like shape. And gently as you exhale, let's let the knees drop over to the right. So you'll find that your left knee now might be near where your right foot is. So it's a gentle twist for the spine. As we inhale, we come back up to center. As we exhale, we drop over to the left-hand side. As we inhale, come back up to center, drop over to the right. So we stay down on each side for a round of breath before we move back up again. Inhale to come back up to center. Exhale down to the left. Inhale back up to center. Exhale last time now. Down to the right. Inhale back up to center. Exhale last time down to the left. As you inhale, come back up to center. Bring the knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around the shins. Give yourself a lovely squeeze of gratitude. Just taking a moment to thank yourself for this healing practice of yoga. Stretching and working into those tight spots. So now let's just roll back up into our seated position, placing one hand on each of the shins. Just gently roll yourself up. Come into a relaxed seat, cross-legged, or if you'd like to come onto your shins, that's completely fine. And we are done with our lunchtime practice. Thank you everyone for joining. I hope you have a beautiful afternoon further. It was such a pleasure to do this practice with you guys, because what's great is that I end up doing all the stretching that I need to do as well. So thank you and namaste. Have a beautiful day, and I will check in with you guys on Thursday.